Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official NFL Week number 8 picks and predictions, where I predict the final score of every NFL game, and we begin with the Thursday night game to kick it off. 8:15, Buffalo coming off that brutal loss. They've had back-to-back really bad performances at home against the Giants. They very easily could have lost that game. They do lose on the road in New England, sitting 8-point favorites in that one. They're minus 8.5 at home in this one. Primetime game, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, the Bucs really coming back down to earth, sitting at 3-3, and I am still going in on Buffalo, guys. They need this cover badly. I think they'll get it. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, they will get right, and they will cover the 8.5, win this game 34-17 at home to kick off the weekend. Moving on to the 1 o'clock window, it is a divisional matchup. The Patriots sitting at 2-5, coming off a win on the road in Miami. Now, last week I faded Miami. I was correct. They lost to Philadelphia 31-17. Philly covered the 2-point spread. Now they're back home sitting the minus 9.5. I do like Miami to win this game. I have them winning by 10, so I don't love this spread either way, minus 9.5. But I would say if I had to lean one way, Miami to cover, and also probably the over. New England might be able to score in garbage time in a game like this, but we would expect a bounce back effort from the Dolphins. The Dolphins have notoriously really beat up on bad teams, and whether, people want to believe it or not, the Patriots at this point, 2-4 record, they are a bad team. I will take Miami to win this game 31-21 at home in South Beach. How about this game? This is a neutral site game. MetLife Stadium, New York versus New York, but it's in New Jersey. It's in East Rutherford. It's funny. It is the Giants taking on the Jets. The Giants, people saying Tyrod Taylor should be their starting quarterback. Will they go back to Daniel Jones? I'm guessing they will, and I still think Daniel Jones, he's at least a serviceable, slightly above average quarterback with his running ability. They're sitting at 2-5 right now. Coming off that win, I predicted it at home as 2-point underdogs against the Commanders. They won that game outright. They're taking on a Jets team, and the Jets have kind of been a surprise story this year. Amazing defense. The injury to Aaron Rodgers, one play into the season for them. The Jets are sitting -3. Again, this is basically a neutral site game considering they share the same home, and I will take the Jets to win this game, even though the analytics actually do like the Giants to cover. They've got this as a very close game. I trust that Jets defense. It is hard to bet on Zach Wilson, but if it is Tyrod Taylor, I know Tyrod Taylor had a nice week last week. I'm not buying it. I will take that Jets defense against the backup. Even if it is Daniel Jones, I still trust their defense to win that game 20-13. Very low scoring for sure. Going to be a cold one. Moving on to Jacksonville traveling to Pittsburgh. So this is a fun game. 5-2 versus 4-2. You do have Jacksonville sitting -2.5 coming off that extended break. They had kind of a mini bye playing on Thursday night. Very impressive. Well, I wouldn't say very impressive. It started out really well for Jacksonville, but they very easily could have been possibly in an overtime game with New Orleans. They're on the road, and I do like the value in Jacksonville. Guys, the Steelers are not nearly as good as their record says they are at 4-2. They're due for some losses. This is going to be one of them. I think Jacksonville covers with 2.5, and I'm guessing a lot of people are going to bet on the Steelers because I've seen a lot of money come in on them. It's getting bet down a little bit. You might be able to get this line at like a pick'em. Well, I wouldn't say that. Maybe like -1.5 or -2. It's going to get bet down very likely from -2.5, but we'll see. I will take the Jaguars. They would be 6-2 with this win. It doesn't feel like the Jaguars have played that well this year. Maybe it's just Trevor Lawrence struggling a little bit early on, but I'll take them. Moving on to, this is a crap fest. It is Atlanta traveling to Tennessee. The preview of the Super Bowl. I always say that sarcastically when it's AFC versus NFC, but yeah, Atlanta sitting, the Bijan Robinson thing, what happened there? He had like a migraine or something. He got one carry for 3 yards, and then you're looking at a Tennessee team. They're going to be without Ryan Tannehill. Tennessee is a complete mess. They need to fully tank. They need to give it up, try and get a franchise quarterback, draft Drake May. You cannot keep going through this. you want to say maybe they should start Will Levis, but it might ruin him. Like, if he's not ready, you really can't do that. Either way, Atlanta is sitting -2. You can see ESPN FPI, they like Tennessee at 54%. Obviously, they don't know that. Actually, I think ESPN FPI does factor in quarterback injuries, but I will still just take Atlanta. I think the only play in this game is the under. I could very easily see Atlanta losing to a backup, though, just because they don't have a good offense and they're going to be on the road. Tennessee, on the other hand, they've got Derrick Henry, possibly going to be trading him, but what can you even get for Derrick Henry? Like, they might try and showcase him in a game like this right before the deadline. Maybe he runs for 150 and a touchdown or something, but I don't know, man. Lower scoring game, I've got Atlanta. How about that? Atlanta would be 5-3 if they win that one. Another 1 o'clock game, it is Houston traveling to Carolina. A battle of the top picks, the number 1 overall pick versus the number 2 overall pick. And here's the thing with Carolina. This is what I'll say about them. Certainly, they're going to win some games this year. There is no incentive for them to lose. They don't even own their first-round pick. Chicago does. So they will win games, guys. They're going to win 4, maybe 5 games. I feel like they'll end the season strong. But I'm not going to disrespect CJ Stroud and this Houston team coming off a bye, sitting at 3-3. They've worked too hard for this to go into Carolina and lose this game outright. I have them winning 26-20 and covering the spread. Bryce Young, he's going to be better, after his bye week, get an extra break. But again, I do think Houston, they've worked too hard to blow their record in a road loss at Carolina. I just can't pick Carolina in that spot. Next, we do have Dallas taking on the Rams. This is a very rare moment, and some people out there will recognize this. The Dallas Cowboys playing at 1 o'clock in the 1 o'clock window. Wow. Is that the first time this year? The first and only time this is going to happen. They are taking on the Rams, so the Rams kind of get screwed with this game being at 1 o'clock. You would think the Rams, coming from West Coast time, they would get a 4:25 game with the Cowboys, but Dallas is sitting -6.5. The Rams suffered that tough loss against Pittsburgh, the terrible fourth downs, or the terrible spot. They're sitting at 3-4. I really do like the over in this game. I think I do have a tendency to pick the over in any game that's a dome, but I like the over, and I do like the Rams on the value plus the 6.5. Dallas will probably win it. They're coming off their bye. They're rested, but the Rams, to me, will keep this game close. Matt Stafford, the receivers, they'll do a good job in that one. Maybe they'll be up early. I do have Dallas winning, though, 28-24. Next game, we do have Minnesota traveling to Green Bay. So Green Bay sitting -1. This is basically a pick-em. Minnesota coming off that great win they had on Monday Night Football against San Francisco, and I have Minnesota continue. This is more so a pick against Green Bay. Green Bay, I just don't think they have a good offense at all. They've got a below-average receiver core. They've got a below-average running game. Even with Aaron Jones, they've got a below-average quarterback with Jordan Love. And Minnesota, they're still fighting for something. They're going to be getting Justin Jefferson back soon. They've got momentum. They're going to utilize that big Monday night win against a very good team in San Francisco at home. They're not going to throw away that win. They're going to utilize that win as momentum, and I have them beating Green Bay in Lambeau 27-17. Next, we do have New England traveling to Indianapolis. So Indianapolis was involved in that pretty crazy game. You can see right now, this game, another one, virtually a pick-em. Both of these teams sitting at 3-4, but at this point, I feel like New Orleans needs this game more than Indianapolis. Indianapolis, it's kind of a lost year. You're starting Gardner Minshew. It is what it is. New Orleans, we saw the Thursday night game. It was bad, but they almost came back and won. They showed some things there at the end in terms of their offense. Derek Carr, Chris Olave, the miscommunication, not running his route. They will get right. They will rebound, and they will win this game. Another very close game, but I do like New Orleans outright pick'em in that one. Next, we do have Philadelphia traveling to Washington to take on the Commanders in Landover, Maryland. Philadelphia sitting at 6-1, coming off that impressive win. And this just feels like a game that Philadelphia won't cover in, because it's like, oh, it's too obvious. They're coming off a huge win. Everyone wants Ron Rivera fired. Washington's been terrible. But there's just no way right now with the way Sam Howell is playing in terms of the amount of sacks he's taking, I can really make this a close game. I've got Philadelphia actually covering this 6.5, and I think that number's going to get bigger. It's just so hard to pick Washington right now with their situation, the state of their head coach. I will take Philadelphia big in this one, 28-17. Moving on to the 4 o'clock games, it is the Browns in the 4 o'clock window traveling to Seattle. So here's the issue with the Browns. It's just what is going on with Deshaun Watson. You know, I picked them to win last week. They end up winning, but they didn't cover a 2-point spread. Are they going to be starting PJ Walker? Jerome Ford looks like he's going to be out. It's just hard to pick them at this point. And even when Deshaun Watson plays, he has not been very good. So Seattle sitting -3. I will take them to win and cover this spread. I understand the Browns have a really good defense. They're no joke. But I do have Seattle scoring 26 points, possibly off a turnover or two, especially if PJ Walker starts. They are -3. A lot of this hinges on the Browns quarterback situation in terms of that. 4:25 game, it is Baltimore traveling to Arizona. So Baltimore going to the desert, sitting at 5-2. Arizona has just gotten throttled like the past 4 weeks. They haven't come close to covering a spread. Baltimore's -8.5, coming off that crazy blowout win over Detroit. And yeah, let's not overcomplicate it. We will have Baltimore winning this game and covering. There is that thing with, will Kyler Murray be back? I think they're going to try and ease Murray back, so I am not expecting him to play this week. He'll probably get practice in, and then he'll play the week after this week. At least that's my expectation right now. But you can look at ESPN FPI, 85% chance to win this game for Baltimore on the road. I mean, their analytics probably just went absolutely crazy after they crushed Detroit, who was like 5-1 themselves. You crush a team like that, your analytics are going to get improved massively. And let's just not overcomplicate this. Arizona's 0-4 in their last 4 games against the spread. Baltimore has been very impressive. They will cover the 8.5. Next, we do have Kansas City traveling to Denver. So Kansas City beating the Chargers last week, sitting at 6-1. Denver at 2-5. Denver is completely hapless. You know, Kansas City -8, 82% chance to win. This is another game. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. I'm going to go in on Kansas City. Denver had a little bit better of a defensive performance, but let's be honest, you're facing Jordan Love. KC wins this game. And by the way, I did pick Denver to win that game outright against the Packers. They almost blew it at the end, but at least they won. I'll take KC to win and cover on the road in that one. This is a nice little AFC-NFC game. It is Joe Burrow traveling to Levi's Stadium, Santa Clara, California to take on San Francisco. San Francisco, they need a bounce-back game. They've lost a few games in a row now. They're -5.5. Guys, I can smell this one from a mile away. This is a Cincinnati team coming off a bye. They're 3-3. They need this game to stay competitive in the AFC North. San Francisco right now, I understand they've got a great roster, but Brock Purdy, he's a game manager. They will lose this game. They're still going to have a good record. They're going to fall to 5-3, but Cincinnati gets the bye. They get an extended rest. San Francisco, little bit of a short week coming off the Monday night game. Joe Burrow getting healthier after the bye. That receiver core, better vibes in Cincinnati. They will win that one 27-24. And then the Sunday night game, the 8:20 game, it is Chicago traveling to take on the Chargers. So not a great game here. 2-5 versus 2-4. The Chargers sitting -8.5. And this is my prediction if Justin Fields plays. I understand they've got that undrafted, whatever, free agent. Let's just hope that Justin Fields plays because it'll be really entertaining if he does. And if Justin Fields does play, it's going to be an absolute shootout, 34-31. I do have the Chargers winning this game. They need it badly. Chicago will score some points in this one, though, if Fields does suit up, depending on his injury. And then moving on to the Monday night game, it's another weird one. It is the Raiders traveling to Detroit to take on the Lions in the Dome. So the Lions trying to bounce back after that bad performance. The Raiders, on the other hand, they've got an issue with Josh McDaniels. They might be firing him soon. It is a horrible situation there. So based off of the head coaching health of the Raiders, I'm going to take Detroit to win and cover and bounce back at home in a Monday night affair, 28-17. Also, you have the issue with the quarterback for the Raiders. If Jimmy G doesn't play, he's been dealing with injuries. He's probably not going to play. You're talking about, Brian Hoyer was horrible in Chicago. Do they go to Aiden O'Connell, who's not a great, answer himself, considering he's a rookie. He's like a 5th-round pick from Purdue. It's not a good spot, and Detroit's going to be wanting to bounce back. They will win that game big, 28-17. But guys, that is going to do it for my official NFL Week number 9 picks and predictions. Make sure you're following me on X. Link to that's always in the description.